I'm here. You might need to put that up a little closer to the speaker. Let them get that.
All right, come on in here. You know what time it is. It's Monday. You see these two marvelous faces sitting in front of you. Let's go. Let's go. Marysville is Mondays coming at you.
You should be singing too. Quit playing around. You know this is our jam. We need to get this back for the gathering this coming October.
Yeah. That's actually not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. We might just have to do that.
Come on. Wake up. The kids should be in bed by now. Yeah. It's time to go. Y'all know what time it is. So let me go ahead and just see what's happening. They might think, you know, they might just think we're doing something else. So we in here.
All right, I'm gonna go and slide this down.
Yeah, we want to.
Because I don't want to dislike the Reverend Molly's music. You know what I'm saying?
We don't want to go to Facebook jail.
I don't want to go to Facebook jail. Don't want to have my post lowered or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure that we are able to have this conversation with no interruptions. You understand what I'm saying? If you're used to Mondays and you know how we get down, then you know what today is. You know what right now represents, you know. So we're gonna go and let y'all get into the house. Who's out there? If you're on, can you please put your name in the comment field so we can say what's up to you? We always, what's going on with the Alonzas? The Alonzas. Absolutely good to see y'all on tonight.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, somebody had a thing this over the last week, and they are a vital part of what we do here in the village, and we want to take a moment to recognize them. None other than Alonza and Leah Gibbs.
Oh yeah,
elders and pastors Alonza and Leah Gibbs. Listen, they don't took a step up. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we want to represent them on tonight. Good morning, to the Gibbs, and we love you guys and hope that you had an amazing anniversary.
Oh yes.
But you know what time it is. You know, we're gonna get here and we're gonna have this conversation. But before we do it, there's a question that we always ask every Monday. And that question is, how are you doing? Huh?
I'm battling adult acne. Is there something right here?
No.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I just, it was kind of felt weird. But anyway, I know y'all saw me scrambling just a minute ago. My AirPods were on, and I kept hearing this other talking. I'm like, what is that? And it was your voice, but it was because I.
Oh, yeah.
But I am. Lonza said I was gonna say something, but y'all put the pastor on it, so I had to behave a little.
Listen, you can act up a little bit. Go ahead, go on and act up. You Lonza. Get that grace up here in the village. You know what I'm saying? Go on and because we're pastors. You know we cut up as much as we can. So go on and let it hang out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But we do want to take the time and just again say happy anniversary to the Gibbs. We love them immensely. They are our brother and our sister. They are co-laborers with us here in the village.
That's all right.
And forever. You understand what I'm saying? So the question on the floor is, how are you doing? So if you just gotten on, can you please let us know how you're doing? And can you please share your name and let us know how the day went? My day went pretty well. You said how your day went, right?
No.
All right, so let's do this.
I immediately went to my adult acne issue.
Okay.
Which has nothing to do with nothing. Sorry.
Okay. So how's your day? How are you doing?
Today was a great day. I will say right now my stomach is bothering me. I took my vitamins too late. No. It's just and there we go again.
Oh.
How do I get it off? Get off.
Okay. There we go.
Anyway, today was a great day. I had lunch with a good friend.
Okay.
Hey, Vanessa. Good to see you on.
Hey, Vanessa.
I had lunch with a good friend.
Okay.
And I went and did so for those of you who don't know, I started a new job. I'm in a new career field or new career path.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's not brand new, right? I've been in HR for 2 years, but I'm in a new assignment. And so a part of my assignment is to go to different locations and host trainings. And so since we're not from Louisville, I figured I should probably drive to those spots before it's time for me to actually go there.
Okay.
So I went on a little field trip today. I went to our East Operations Center. Then I went over to the south side of town and checked out where that is. And so I'm good to go now. So good day. Good day. Right. How was your day, sir? And I'm sorry again for the distractions.
My day was great. It was busy. Like this, working for a school and getting ready for the beginning of the school year, it's a lot that goes into it. And so we've been really busy, but I like it because I look up and it's time to go home, So I'm not going to complain about that. Vanessa, the question on the floor is, how are you doing? And if you've just come on to the Marriage Village on today or tonight, we want to know, how are you doing? How was your day? How was your weekend? All that kind of good stuff. We do have a pretty cool conversation that we're going to start on tonight. And we're picking up where our spiritual father left off on Friday in Extreme Relationships, ER, through the Lion Church. We're going to have this conversation. And basically what we're going to be talking up is growing up from doing you. And the question is how do you grow up from doing you? That's the question. And we have answers. Yes, sir. We have answers on tonight. But all right, so Alonzo says he's well. Jesus is kind. Absolutely, he is. Listen, I didn't even say anything. I just looked. I didn't even say it. You know what I'm saying? It's the light. I promise it is. What does Stacy say since you have the great eyes?
Stacy?
Vanessa.
Oh, yeah, I do have the great eyes. Look at that. She said, ooh, that's a great topic. But on her day, she said, wasn't bad. Caught up on some errands. I see Elder Sis is in the house. Oh, we harmonizing.
Absolutely. That's what happens when you're on one accord. You understand?
God is kind. And yes, we are on one accord. I love it, y'all, because even when we are kind of like irritating one another lately, it's been cool. It's not been any blow ups. And I had to share that little nugget. The Team Martin is on one accord, y'all. We are moving in a direction, and it took a minute. Well, never mind. I'm just be quiet.
I don't care.
Just hold on.
No, I don't care. Like this is how I am. Like, I know when you in a place, and I just let you be in that place. I'm not because it's not earth shattering.
What about when you're in a place?
It's not earth shattering. It doesn't matter who's in the place. It's just not earth shattering. And sometimes, I'm in a place. What do? I go on up them stairs. I get myself in that bed and I take a nap. You understand what I'm saying? I sleep it off because I know my irritation is normally from being tired. That's pretty much it. If you catch me being sniffy, if you catch me being a little bit irritable, 9 times out of 10 is because I'm tired. I need a nap. Absolutely. I'm a full-grown adult that needs a nap every day. Absolutely.
That's hilarious. I used to be the napper, y'all. It used to be me having a nap every day.
Well, let's tell why I take naps.
No. Okay? I'm not coming at you for taking a nap. I'm saying I used to be the one.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying I like to give understanding for why I take naps. I take naps because I get up at 4:15 in the morning. Most mornings I'm up at 4:15 at the gym by 5. So you need, you need a nap. At the ripe age of 48, you need a nap. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm not that spring chicken I used to be years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of 48, y'all, I'm gonna be 49 here in a minute. Next year I will be 50, a whole half a century. Come on, church.
We're getting up there, y'all.
God is kind.
Listen,
I'm gonna go ahead and write in on that because your girl is knocking on 50 next year.
I don't feel it, but I do understand that, like, when you get older, your body doesn't take the wear and tear throughout the day like it used to. It doesn't recover as fast as it used to. So
I think we need to do Marriage Village Monday on that.
Absolutely, knowing your body.
How that body will change up on you.
But tonight we are going to talk about growing up from doing you. So what does that look like? Tell the people what growing up.
You didn't do the theme song.
Oh, you are right. Okay, it's Monday. You see these two wonderful faces sitting in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's after 9 o'clock. That can only mean one thing. That means it's Baby Village Monday.
There you go, Swan. I know you were waiting. I know you were waiting on
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? Alonzo said, the body do what I say. Listen.
Command it.
Listen, it does.
I command you.
It does most times, Alonzo, for me. But every now and again, it puts me in a chokehold and I take a nap. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to be real. It does. It does put me in a chokehold. You know what I'm saying? But tonight, we are going to talking about growing up from doing you. Because growing up from doing you is something that you have to grow from, because a lot of times most people don't realize that they're really doing them. They say that, oh, I'm a team player, but nah, you really doing you. You really making decisions that impact both, but because you are maybe being selfish, or you have the blinders on and you can't see you can't see how your actions are impacting the relationship, but they are. They are impacting the relationship. So how do we grow from doing us? Like, let's lay down the foundation. So what say you?
So I want to get to that. We'll get to that, but I want to ask something really quickly. What does it mean? Elliot,
what's up, fam?
What up, fam? We love y'all. What is doing you? What does that even mean? And so again, we're recapping our spiritual father, Bishop Romey Coles Jr. had they do Extreme Relationship. Yeah. They go live every third Friday of the month. And so we jumped on with them just watching, and he was like, y'all need to pick this up and maybe run with it for Marriage Village Mondays. And so we listen in and really, it's great. We're going to put the link so y'all can watch the original. But what does it mean when I say I'm doing me or you doing you? You villagers, exactly, weigh in, honey, you say.
Exactly what it says. You doing you. You ain't think about nobody else. It's all about you. You are full-fledged into a selfish fit. Ooh. You are doing things that please you, and you don't necessarily care if it pleases your significant other or how they feel about it. You are just going about your way and having your way. You know what I'm saying? You are doing what you want to do. And in relationships, especially marriage relationship, that's not going to go well for you. Because when you have another party that you need to be having this conversation with, or you need to be considering as you're going along and doing these things. For example, if it's bill month or bill week and you're out here buying all this stuff and you're not paying attention to what's going on with the account, what do you think is going to happen? That's going to start an argument, or that's going to start a very uncomfortable dialogue or conversation, because you were not necessarily thinking about anyone or anything else other than you. So you have to grow up from doing you, because doing you will cause a lot of problems if you want to be in a relationship.
Right. And so we have some comments. So Elliot say doing what you want to do or being selfish. So yeah. you know, and I put in the, you know, in the description of tonight, I'm like, how do you in a relationship?
You know what? That's a good question, but a lot of people do it. A lot of people do what they want to do and call themselves being in a relationship. And I think a lot of it is because, okay, when you're just used to having your way and you're not used to having somebody, having someone that you have to run things by now, because it's not just your money and it's not just your account. Mm-hmm. It's not just your financial future. It's our financial future. And you can make a decision that can impact our life. So it has to cease being just about you, and it has to now become about being about us and doing what's best for the collective front. If you're doing your own things, you're going out here, and that can be in any area of life. That can be in finances, that can be in relationships. Let's say you're spending more time with your friends and your family than you do with your spouse. What is that going to cause? That is going to cause a issue.
Problem.
You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of it, what we have to understand is it's important to grow up from doing you, because doing you can cause a lot of problems, and ultimately it can cause the biggest problem, and that is breakup, and that is disconnection.
Facts. Hey Rhonda, sister Rhonda, our
What's
sister is on here. Love you. Canosa says people are used to being independent. Once they join in marriage, it's not easy to make the transition to include another person in all things.
Well, let's say this, and I agree with that.
It is not easy.
It's not easy, but that's sort of what you signed up for.
It's required.
When you got into relationship.
Mm-hmm.
When you get into relationship, you sign up to stop being selfish. That's literally what you sign up to do. You sign up to consider someone else and consider your significant other's thoughts and concerns about whatever it is you may be doing.
Oh yeah, this is gonna get good in a minute, y'all, because and I don't want to get ahead of us. Elder Sis said going from thinking like for me versus we, you know, that's doing you.
Yeah,
you're thinking about me versus we.
Absolutely.
But then woo. So here's why I said it's gonna get good, because later on, one of the highlights that Bishop Pop is what I call him. He brought out, you know, it turns into a bunch of arrangements inside the marriage, because you're coming in wanting to do you, I'm coming in wanting to do me, and it's not really a marriage. It is an arrangement.
It's killing the relationship. And because relationship was not meant for one person to reap all of the benefits and the other person to get none of the benefits. Correct. So if you're the person that feels like you should benefit the most, that's going to cause a problem, because you're going to make decisions that say, I feel like I should benefit the most.
And who gets to decide that?
Well, some people don't care. They just make that decision because, okay,
my needs matter more.
Like Kenosis community was saying, you know, it's like when you go from being single and used to just making decisions without having to consider someone else, and then all of a sudden you have to start considering someone else with every decision that you make, small or big. That can be an adjustment. It can take an adjustment. But, you know, at the end of the day, when you realize that's what I signed up for, you sort of have to get over it, because that's what you signed up for. Either you want to be in a relationship and you want to understand that you're going to have to give up some of the stuff that you want to do for the greater good of the team, or you're going to have problems.
Going to have big problems. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, Michelle.
What's going on, Michelle?
How you doing? Good to see y'all on tonight. So we're talking about, we're recapping a topic from Friday night, growing up from doing you.
Yeah.
So in your relationship, just basically coming into a place of maturity where you are growing up from just having everything all about you. And some people are not, you know, all about me, or they don't think they are all about me kind of people. But
yeah,
if you look a little closer, you'll see.
Most selfish people, now check this out. Most selfish people don't think they're selfish.
True.
Ain't that a thing?
That is a thing.
Most selfish people, if you were to ask them, are you selfish? They'd be like, no, I ain't selfish. I just, I just like what I like. I just want what I want. That right there, that comment, those comments are selfish comments. Those are comments that selfish people make. I just want what I want. What if what you want is going to cause a problem for your spouse? If you want to go on a full-fledged cruise by yourself, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's going to pose a problem. First of all, why would you ever in relationship, in a marriage relationship, want to go on a cruise by yourself? I don't understand. See, this is the thing. That's single living in marriage. When you sign up for a marriage, you sign up to let go of some of those things.
Yeah, and so not only is it single thinking or single mentality, it is also sometimes it can be escapism. And if you are trying to escape your marriage, then brother and sister, we need to dig a little bit deeper and get to the root of why that's happening. So all right, so growing up from doing you. In order to grow, here's one of the points. We're going to just go through some of the highlights and share. So in order to grow, you have to move from doing you. It is a necessity. If you want to grow, you have to move because, okay, doing you, you're in your bubble, right? And you can't grow in your bubble. You can't be stretched. You can't be challenged. You can't be sharpened.
Absolutely. So my question is why do we have community? Why do we have community? Why did God just not leave Adam by himself? The word says it is not good that man be alone. Why is it not good? Because when man is by himself, man will do crazy stuff. When you have no one else to consider, no one else's thoughts to think about, you would do whatever that little mind of yours want to do. Why? Because you need the care and concern for someone else to help keep you balanced.
And then another thing that kind of was brought out is that man, God did not see it, man should not be alone. But it's not just man, it's not only Adam, right? Now mankind, like those that are made in his image. If you're made in the image, in God's image, right? You're not meant to be a solo act.
When he was speaking to man, he was speaking to mankind. Yes. So, and we talked about this over the weekend, Genesis 5, where he said, and he made them, he made man and woman and called them Adam. Yeah, go read your Bible. Please go ahead. Go on and read your Bible. That's what he said. He said he created man and woman and he called them Adam. Figure it out. For real.
Wow.
So why would he do that? Like, even in us being one, we need one another to operate in the oneness that is required for a relationship. If you start doing your own thing, it's going to throw the balance of the relationship off every time. Why? Because it's not supposed to be just about one person in a relationship. That's why it takes two to be in a relationship. If you don't have someone else to love, you can't love.
Amen.
Love was not meant to fulfill itself. Love was meant to be carried out between two individuals. That's why, what did Christ tell the Pharisees when they was asking what was the greatest commandment? He said, I'm going to give you two. Love God with all your heart, mind, your soul. That's loving someone else. And love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's loving someone else. It was never meant for you to love yourself. You need someone else to love you, and you need to love someone else to fulfill love.
And we're going to get into that in a little bit, because love ain't what some people say it is, or what they are calling love is not love. So the first necessity, I mean, love is in there. We're going to get back to it. But the first necessity in order to move, or in order to grow up from doing you have to be willing to lay down your life. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Because this is coming in two parts. The first thing is being willing to lay down your life for someone else.
Well, I mean, if we're allowing Christ to be the example, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gave up his place in heaven to come here to take responsibility for something that he was not responsible for.
Well,
he laid down his life for his friends. He laid down his life for his brothers, you know, and his sisters. He laid down his life so that we could have life. You know, so if we're giving that as an example, and not just by dying on the cross, he did that by living completely sin-free, which means when he was doing relationship with those people, he was in relationship and they was acting crazy and they was calling him all manner of evil and all this other stuff. He didn't cuss them out. The Bible says when he was reviled, he did not revile in return. So what does that mean? That means when your spouse or your significant other is acting unseemly, you don't just go all the way in the deep end on them. You lay down your life and you cover them so that they can, you know, because the word says love covers a multitude of wrong. So if I'm allowing that love to cover you when you do something, I'm not going to just be at odds with you just because I can. Because I need to lay down my life. Go ahead.
And the other crucial key in that is it's not just the man who has to lay down his life. It's both the man and the woman. Because a lot of times they gotta love as Christ loved, and you don't ever hear the woman being commanded to love. That is a lie. We just gave you 2 love commands.
What? That's right. You know what? It is funny how this culture can twist.
Oh, they're twisted around now
and make things not what they are. We are all given. If you are a Christ follower, we are all given the command to love. We are. And Corinthians chapter 16, verse 14 says, "Let everything that you do be done in love." You understand what I'm saying? Absolutely. Everything. My question is, are we really doing all that we can in love?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Amy says sacrificing and compromising on both sides. That is absolutely what it means to lay down your life. And then, okay, so the second part of that is for his friends, right? Jesus laid down his life for his friends.
Yeah.
So the point that came up as we recap, some people are not even friends in their relationship.
Wow.
They're not friends. So they're not willing to lay down their lives for one another because they're not even friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that. And growing up means I have to now learn how to be balanced in how I view and operate within the confines of relationship. If I want to be in relationship, then that means I have to do what it takes in order for the relationship to work. And if I'm not your friend, okay, let's go to year 9. When we were in year 9, if you asked us, yes, we do.
Okay.
If you asked us, okay, do you like Joe? Well, this was a Cassie thing. This wasn't a Joe thing. I was being petty when I responded. No, listen, okay. So they asked Cassie if she loved me. Yes, I love her, but I don't like her. That means we were not being good at being friends.
We were not.
She didn't like me because friendship is what produces a like towards someone. When you start to become a good friend to someone, they really start to like you. And the progression goes, I like you, and I grow from liking you to loving you, because that is growing up from doing me to doing us. I want to love you, and when I love you, I want to prefer you. As Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4-7 says, I want to love you more than I love myself. I want to prefer you before me.
Right. Right. What's going on, Tyrone? Good to see you on, brother.
Tyrone, my boy.
But yeah, so absolutely. And so if you're in a relationship and you all have lost that friendship, or maybe you didn't even think friendship was, this is crazy. Sometimes people have gotten married and they didn't even think that friendship was really what it was about. Just get together, get married, be fruitful, and multiply. No.
Well, I mean, there's, you know that saying, yeah, you know that saying, they say there's levels to this. Mm-hmm. There's levels to this. And that was sis just said, she says, friendship is the foundation of any relationship. You have to be friends first. And I believe a lot of times that is what happens when relationships grow apart, because we stop filling the friendship bank. We stop pouring in or making an investment into our friendship. What does that look like? That looks like, okay, why don't we just go to a movie? Can I say this? My wife is great at this, and I'm not that great at it, because she's more wired in that direction. And I'm so grateful from her. I show up in a different way. Absolutely.
I'm the social butterfly.
Absolutely, she's a social butterfly, and I'm typically off to the right by myself, and that's just not because I want to, but that's just how.
That's just your wiring.
My life. That's how I'm set up right now. So, but I do, like, if she say, hey, I want to go, or she tells me she needs something, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to give her what she needs, because my friend told me this is what works for her. If my friend says this is what I need, that's what I want to give her, because my friend said. You know what I'm saying? So
we got some more comments.
Let's go.
So, Jasmine was just commenting. She said she just said the same thing to her man the other day. I love you so much, but I don't like you right now. And now those are real places.
That's a real place,
but
man.
we can't stay there. I couldn't stay in that place. And so because again, that led to, we were doing us. Well, I was doing me. He was trying to do us, but we just I don't ever want to go back there. Is what I want to say.
A lot of times it's because, again, when you haven't resolved you, when you haven't dealt with you haven't dealt with how you feel, and you haven't dealt with your stuff. That's where it creeps in, because now I'm taken away from us. I'm taken away from us because I haven't dealt with me.
Yeah, and so what y'all just let me just go ahead and put it out there. I was looking to get married, have fun, have an adventure. I knew it was going to be work, but I was expecting me from me, like I was expecting me from him in the marriage, and so.
And I ain't heard.
Don't you know that God puts you sometimes with somebody that is the complete opposite of you in certain respects?
Think most times he does.
So that a lot of things, it's just balance. He's a God of balance.
Listen,
wholeness.
Listen, Lord. Because he hates false weights. What is a false weight? A false weight is we feel like we are just, no, I'm not like you. And that's for a reason. If you were like me and I was like you, there wouldn't be a lot of growth, because 9 times out of 10, the way God set this holiness thing up is you need someone who can look out on the outside of your blind spot to show you what's going on in your blind spot.
Yeah.
When she's telling me stuff about me, she's telling me what's going on in my blind spot. See, good friends will tell you what's going on in your nature. Good friends will.
And sometimes you don't want to hear what your good friend has to say, but we're going to get that comment.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't want to hear what your good friend has to say, but every time, if it's a good friend, even if you didn't want to hear it, you're going to go back and think about what they said, because you know they're a good friend. And so your relationship, in your marriage, as you're dating and considering, please let friendship be the foundation. Rachel says, am I saying that right? Rachel, right? Yes, that's our Rachel. Yeah. Sorry. Unfortunately, a lot of people operate in the flesh and skip the friendship.
Absolutely. But see, this is the thing. A lot of times it says be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The truth of that statement that you just made, Rochelle, is a lot of people have not been transformed from the old nature to the new nature. See, when you've been transferred from the old nature to the new nature says, I can no longer act like the old nature. Because the old nature is what caused me a lot of problems.
You got that right.
You know what I'm saying? What's up, Jayla? Good to see you on tonight. Yeah, Romans 12:2. And that's like literally 1 and 2 is one of my favorite passages of scriptures. It says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice. There it goes. That living sacrifice, that dying, the laying down of your will to take on the nature or the will of Christ by your mind and your concepts and the way that you live your life.
Absolutely.
Let's see. What does the other sis say?
She said, friends are the only ones that can keep a vow.
Listen. Oh man, that is good, sis. Elder sis,
that's
come
the
through.
truth. Friends are loyal.
Absolutely.
You know? And I don't know. I really need to look up this scripture because I've heard it said a lot of years and I never even studied it. But faithful are the wounds of a friend. Again, I don't know if this is the right interpretation. So I'm saying that right now, but he's gonna get it because he's not gonna let me be out here in these streets wrong. But when I hear that, I think of friends faithful, their wounds are faithful, not because they're betraying you, but because when they cut you, if it's a friend, it's a surgical incision. You know, not a just going wild with a razor blade cutting you everywhere, right? But if it's a wound from a friend and it's a necessary cut, there's some faithfulness to that. There's some loyalty there. There is some trust that can be, that comes from that place, from those kinds of friends. You know, I have, there's my little small crew that I have. And my crew is so small, like some of them are literally family members. But I know that when one of them says something that's a little hard to swallow, I know where it's coming from. And so I know we're shifting, but this is about marriage and relationships. Yeah.
So it literally means like to be a friend, like I'm going to tell you a truth, and sometimes that truth is going to wound you because sometimes hearing a truth is painful. Just like a wound, you know, if you stab yourself with a knife or you get a paper cut on your finger, that thing hurts. It's the same thing like the wound of a friend. They're not meaning to wound you, but it's going to hurt a little bit because what they saying. Listen, can I tell you? This is a saying that we say, but it is so true. The truth hurts sometimes. When you are hearing the truth that you're not as good as you thought you were, listen,
smack down.
When it's like when somebody say, "Hey man, you stink, bro." You think you don't put your cologne on, but you forgot you don't went to the restroom or you didn't put no DO on, and you might be smelling a little tangy. You know what I'm saying? But that can be a wound that can make you feel some kind of way. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Jayla says she has that tattooed on her wrist. That's her favorite scripture. Faithful are the wounds. Wow.
Absolutely.
Tyrone said, you said it best, Joe. You have to pour in and feed that friendship. You do.
Absolutely.
It's not, I'm gonna just say this and we can move on because I know we got some other points, but nobody, I'll say this. No woman that I know just wants to, you come home and you just jump right into bed, right? That friendship is the setup or the lead up or how you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That friendship, I want to be around you. I want to, I want to be in your world. I want to be a part of your world. I want you to be a part of mine. All of that plays into the romance side of a marriage relationship or that next level of relationship. So you have to have that foundation.
Absolutely. What's the next thing?
You cannot love unconditionally without the love of God. That's the next necessity.
The word says that God is love. So God is the establishment of love. The word says, if you do not love, you do not know God, and the love of God is not in you. So what does that mean? You have to have the knowledge of God and the knowledge of God's love in order for love that agape love. You need to have that agape operating in you because the agape is what gives you the ability to express love from a pure place. If you're not loving according to God, you are not loving right. I can tell you that right now.
Facts.
Because if you're only loving according to this culture, according to the nature of this culture, you're going to love partially. And your love will have conditions and expectations that are unreasonable and unfit for relationship.
That's the truth. My thought just went right out of my brain. Just went. So we'll take the comment and hopefully it'll come back.
Okay.
Jess says, I think that is the scary thing about getting married. The scary thing about getting married is sometimes you lose your friend when everything comes out. And it's time to grow in that relationship. Okay, so here's the other thing. You should never lose your friend, in the marriage. You should never lose your friend. And if you all don't know, this is the Marriage Village, marriage God's way.
Yeah.
It's a marriage and relationship, the way that God originally intended. And so it should be a progression, right? Even when we go through challenges, just because we are in a moment don't mean that you're no longer my friend. It just means we're having a friend moment, right? A moment in our friendship where we're just maybe not in the best space. And so that is something that, we try to coach people through that. You don't lose your friend, as the marriage progresses. Don't lose your friend. Don't lose your friend.
See, this is the thing. You have to do the work at maintaining the friendship in your marriage. You have to do the work. And it has to be something that you overtly do. You have to stay on top of it. You have to keep it in the forefront of your mind. You have to set your mind on it. You have to do this. You have to do it. You can't just talk about it. You literally have to keep your mind set on it. Kenosis Community says, since God is love, and if you don't have God, you have no context for what love is or what love does. You don't. And I'm going to say this.
That's right.
Love without God is lust.
Somebody needs to go ahead and put that in there. Love without God is lust.
Love without God is lust. Because you're doing things from the world. What is Galatians 5:16 says? It says, walk in the spirit so that you will not fulfill the lustful desires of the flesh. Absolutely, Jayla. Love without God is lust.
Mm-hmm. And lust is of the flesh.
It's of the flesh. And if you're loving from your flesh, you are perverting God's form of love.
Absolutely, I'm saying it for God.
You can officially be called a pervert if you and I mean that in the appropriate context. I'm not talking about just from a sexual nature. You're perverting the original intent of what relationship was meant to be or is meant to be.
Hey, Darlene, good to see you, love.
I'm going to say that one more time. Love without God is lust. You cannot have love without God. You won't even have the context. Okay, just the basis of the basis of your salvation, according to Romans 12:1-2 says, you have to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Mm-hmm. So the way you thought about love has to be transformed and renewed. What you knew, what you thought you knew. Listen, we were a fool 9 years in. What we thought we knew about love, we really didn't know. If you don't have any word of God in you, according to the scriptures on love and what it is and how it should show up in your life, I'm telling you right now, you really do not know what love is. You really don't.
So lust takes, but love gives. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
100%. And so
where does selfishness reside?
Man,
selfishness resides in the flesh. You cannot walk in love and be selfish. Mm-mm. You're going to take on one of the two natures. You're going to be one or the other. It's scientifically proven you cannot love and hate at the same time. You cannot be nice and be ugly at the same time. No. It's scientifically proven. So either you're going to walk in love and be in love, or you're going to be lust and perverted.
Wow. So the other point was when you can't be friends and walk in love, it's usually because one of you is doing you.
Absolutely.
And you're not doing the relationship, right?
Absolutely.
Your focus is 100% on you.
Absolutely. And okay. When you're walking in the flesh, who okay, let me ask you guys this. Who does the word says is the accuser of the brethren?
Satan.
So if you're operating in an accusatory manner, what are you operating in?
The flesh. Satan.
I'm just asking. Because a lot of times we don't think about this. We don't think, where does accusation come from? Accusation comes from a person who is accusing you of something that you may or may not be doing. Absolutely, Tyrone, the flesh. Accusation comes from the flesh. If we're walking, listen, this is what Colossians 3:14 says. It says, above all things, above all these things, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. So if you're walking in love, there's no way we cannot be at harmony or be at peace if we're walking in love. Because that is where love resides. Peace, if I'm operating in love, peace comes with it.
All the fruit of the spirit.
Listen.
Follow it.
Absolutely, Kenosis. I think we have to be mindful of what is flowing out of this thing here towards our relationship, and really discovering. The word says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. That's why I tell people, watch what's coming out of your mouth, because it's telling you what's really in your heart. It's telling you what you really believe. It is proven to others what you really are.
So again, if you're just joining, what we're talking about tonight is growing up from doing you. We're recapping that lesson from our spiritual parents on Friday night. Growing up from doing you. If you want your relationship to progress, if you want to go, beyond where you are in marriage, in your courtship, wherever you are, whatever relationship you're in, if you're looking to move into the next level, even just in maturity within yourself, you have to graduate from I'm doing me, or that kind of I'm doing you mentality. You can't do you in a relationship. And some people might say, and I'm gonna get us back on in a minute, but some people might say, well, I don't want to lose my identity, or I don't want to lose myself in this marriage. I don't want to not be who I am anymore.
Okay, let me say this.
What say you?
Let me say this.
What say the council?
Let me say this. You can't be you and be like Christ. You have to lose you in order to be like Christ. You can't be in a great relationship and just be you. You have to stop being you so that the relationship can be what it's supposed to be. We can walk together and as one. So Jayla had a question.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. Yeah, I got you. So you gotta lose you. That's the whole point. The whole point is we were being us. That's what got us separated in the first place. We have to lose ourselves. What does living sacrifice mean? It means to die. It means something is dead and something is alive at the same time. So the question becomes, what should be dead and what should be alive? What should be dead is your flesh. What should be alive is your spirit man, and you operating in the spirit nature, and you doing things according to the spirit, and you doing things according to the desire, and following the example of Christ, as Ephesians 5 tells us. It tells us to be imitators of God through Christ Jesus, and walk in love as Christ loved us and gave his life for it. So that is something that you can do. That's why James tells us in James 1, 22 through 27, it says, don't just be a hearer of the word, but be a doer of the word. For if a man is a hearer of the word and not a doer of the word, he's like a man that goes to the mirror, walks away, and forget the manner of man that he is.
He just looked at you.
And you don't forgot who you are. That's what happens.
Amy said, and children pick up on that lack of friendship between parents as well. Lead by example. That's it. We are responsible. When you are a parent, you are responsible for, how you disciple your children, what you model in front of them. And so you want whatever we show them is what they're going to kind of come to expect in their adult relationship.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, we absolutely want to lead by example. Jayla is going to put her question. She says she's not married yet.
Okay.
But then she said, can you answer this question? And so I didn't know if there was another. Like,
hey, Jayla, is there another question that you want us to answer, or is the answer in the question that you just put in there? Is it in the statement that you just put online? Okay.
Okay, got you. 1 second, Mama. Alandria, she said, if a relationship makes you feel lost, then that's not the relationship for you anyway. You're supposed to find yourself in that person as well. They should bring out the best in you, correct? Okay, so here we go. The notes, we're just gonna jump all around really quickly. You can answer that if you immediate answer, and then I'm looking because there's something that addresses that.
If a relationship makes you feel lost, then that's not the relationship for you. I would have to ask, what do you mean by lost? Because sometimes in relationship, you're going to feel lost. You're going to feel like you don't know what it is you're doing, because guess what? You don't. And this is how you learn how to be in relationship. That's why leaving in Cleveland is such a very vital part of the marriage process. I leave my mom and my dad's house and I cleave into my wife, and we now get to establish a new identity for ourselves through the oneness and walking with the Lord.
Oh, she's talking about when people say, I don't want to lose myself. And so I think when I've heard that, and actually even when I said it, I felt like I had to give up my God-given identity to be in this marriage, or I had to cut off parts of my personality. And really, that's what I mean when I say, when I've heard people say, I don't want to lose myself. It's like they meld into their spouse, and they no longer have their own thought, their own opinion, they don't have anything that is,
I don't know,
authentic.
I guess to me, I feel like when we are in Christ, we lose our identity and we take on the identity of Christ. So if that is the example that Paul is using, he uses the relationship between Christ and the church and tells us and explains to us through Ephesians 5 how we're supposed to do relationship. So I do believe a part of yourself you're going to lose, and you should lose, because it's not good.
Yeah, and so that's why I say I didn't have the right understanding of what two becoming one meant. And it's beyond just intercourse. It is literally letting God reform everything about your thinking, how you show up. Now, I am very clear on, I did not lose my personality. I'm still a very outgoing person. I'm a social person. To me, that is abusive. When somebody is trying to shut down your personality, that's getting into something
We're not
else.
talking about, okay, so let me preface this. We're not talking about you losing who you are as a person. We're saying that there's certain parts of your nature as a person that you should lose, because it's not good for you in relationship with anybody.
Yeah, and especially as a married person. Okay, so here's the thing. If I would have continued to operate as I did when I was single, my thinking, coming and going, doing whatever I want, that's not gonna bode well not with this man, not in a marriage. And so those are the things that I would say I had to kind of adjust, because things that I didn't think shouldn't have been anything wrong with me, doing this with my single girlfriends or doing that with my single girlfriends. And it's not so much that it was wrong, but the Bible even says that when a person is single, their mindset is different. They're minding different things.
Right.
And when you're married, it's a different level of responsibility, a different level of accountability. And there's a grace for married women that single women don't have in their singleness. Now, let me be clear on that.
Mm-hmm.
You are a wife before you get married. Those qualities are already in you.
Yeah.
But the grace to endure, to help, to walk with does not come until you are in that marriage relationship.
Absolutely.
And so, and I'm saying that because I'm married, but I also was divorced, right? And so when I went through my divorce, that wife was still in there, but she needed to be deactivated.
Absolutely.
Until, and it doesn't mean that it goes away, but it just means she's not in the driver's seat in that moment.
And being like Christ, there are certain parts of you that do die. There are certain parts of you that should die.
Desires and
and even in relationship, there are certain things about relationship until you get into a marriage relationship you have no idea of. Like the knowledge and wisdom that we have about relationship right now, I didn't have this before I got married. I got this in the journey of marriage. You see what I'm saying? So there's certain things that you're not going to come into the knowledge of until you get married, until you get yoked up with the appropriate person. And that's the way that God would have it. Because again, that's what leaving and cleaving is. Mm-hmm. It is leaving the old way and coming into a new way that works for us together as one.
So the question on the floor earlier, I asked, how do you find the balance of this is who they are and they can be act better?
I think it's just holding that person and each other accountable to being better. And sometimes you got to have receipts, right? Okay, this is not good when you talk this way. If anybody talked this way, it wouldn't be good. If you act this way, if anybody act this way, it wouldn't be good. So no, we got to be better here. And let me say this. It is okay when you see something going on that is not good in a person, it's your responsibility to call it out. Especially in your spouse, it's your responsibility.
Okay, so let me give you an example. Let me give you a real life. You already know I will go out.
Let's go.
I'll get on the altar. So I still am pretty friendly, but I used to just be over the top friendly, loving. I have no foul or ill intention, but I'm a hugger, right? And so that's who I am, right? That's my personality, hug and love on people. My husband was like, you don't need to be hugging like that, and so with people like men or young boys, and it was like, I'm looking at these kids as like they're my sons, not my wedding presents, but like children like kids in the ministry, young boys in the ministry, not so much men. We're talking about just like teenagers. And so I was not aware, I wasn't even thinking that these little boys' hormones could be doing whatever they're doing while Sister Cassie is coming and hugging, right? And so
you got your breast all on them.
And so
they don't know. You don't know. But like I said, it's not her. I wasn't getting on her. I was saying
it felt like it.
You have to be mindful of where they may be. They may be dealing with lust. They may be dealing with abuse, whatever the case may be. So I know it's a part of your nature, but that's a part of your nature that you have to curtail a little bit depending upon who you're dealing with and what they may have going on.
So that's why I brought that in, right? Because she said, how do you find the balance of this is who they are, and they can act to be better? So that's 100%. That was who I was. That's who I am. However, in those moments, I stood to receive that, just that correction, like, hey, you may want to watch this because this. And I've never been a young teenage boy, so he could speak to it better than I could.
Listen.
But now, if I would have got, at first I was kind of like, this is ridiculous, right? But leaning into his wisdom was helpful in the long run, and I had to make some adjustments.
We all have.
Oh yeah.
You want to go back?
No, we gotta go all the way to the bottom. We already addressed all that except for Tyrone.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I know we want to hit everybody's comments. Tyrone said, I don't understand why people nowadays get married, get the house, the job, the kids, the whole 9 yards, and think the marriage is gonna take care of itself. Ooh. We stop pouring into each other, and that's sad. We prioritize everything else but the union. We make it harder than it should be. That is the truth.
Absolutely. But you really have to ask yourself, why is that? Why? Because we're not, the word says, according to Romans 8:5, I'm using this as a parallel, not an exact example, but a parallel. So it says, those who are of the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, and those who are of the spirit set their minds on the things of the spirit. So they set their mind to act or to do or to go in a certain direction. If you want your marriage to go in a certain direction, you have to set your mind, your actions, and your conduct in that direction. And you had to move in that direction. If you want to be a friend, you have to, the word says, if you want to be friend, if you want to have friends, you have to find yourself being friendly. So, you know, if you want to have this place in your relationship, you certainly have to make that investment in that area of your relationship, or it will not reside or exist.
Yeah, I don't know where that theory came in, Tyrone, but I've seen it play out. I refuse. You know, I've told y'all about, you know, just the different things that I've seen where people have been married for years and years and they've been sleeping in separate bedrooms for
so
20 years or whatever. I'm like,
so ridiculous.
I didn't sign up.
That's so ridiculous.
To sleep in a separate bed.
Listen,
I did not.
Go downstairs. I'm gonna be downstairs with you. Go upstairs. I'm gonna be upstairs with you.
But that is, you know, sometimes with that, I want to just say this and we can move on. Sometimes with that, one person in the relationship, whoever is not willing to cultivate or water, sometimes that is the person that feels like, well, you got me, so you should just be grateful.
Well, I think, and sometimes, okay, let me say this. And sometimes you may have to show them how to love. Again, we're
how to love, how to friend, how to date, how to everything.
And I know it might be exhausting, but we have to be disciple makers. What better way to teach your spouse how to love you than to disciple them in the way of loving you?
And that is, when I tell y'all this stuff is counterculture, because that right there, what he just said, ain't nobody, you ain't gonna just hear that in a random podcast, you know, or in a just over any kind of mainstream media. You're never gonna hear nothing like that.
Listen,
right? Discipling someone in how to love you. That's from heaven.
It is, and you have, but that's, he said, go make disciples of men. And this is not just as, you know, in the faith, this is in life, because everything about life resides in God and being like Christ. Everything. There's nothing that you can have a problem with that you can't get an answer according to those scriptures. There's nothing. Everything that I think about comes from that scripture, knowing that word for real, and being led by the Spirit, and the Spirit bringing things to my remembrance and stuff like that. Being a disciple, I have to, my wife has had to disciple me in how to love her in certain capacities, because that capacity was not here, and vice versa. We've both had to be a disciple maker for one another, because that is how we learn how to love one another better. Why should I have to pick it up through osmosis or pray and have the Holy Spirit show me and give me a revelation? Well, you can just tell me what I need to do. Come on now.
Sandy, we love you.
Absolutely. That is just crazy making to me. Like, you can just flat out tell me this is what I need, and I go about giving you what you need. That's an answered prayer right there. And it didn't take God to do it. It took me to hear what you said and kick into action.
So here's another point, and I don't know how much more time we're gonna go, but it kind of flows right in with that. Your person should have more life because you're in their life. You know, when it talks about the abundant life, I should be adding to, right? There should be a more fulfilling life together because we're in each other's life, not you're drained because I'm in your life, or I'm exasperated.
Before you go there, can we answer this real quick? Because we were dealing with this, and I just want to go back and get this real quick.
Okay.
So Jayla says, got it. Do you think that correction is reserved for marriage?
Absolutely not.
Correction is reserved for anyone that needs correcting.
Correct. Correct.
Regardless of marriage relationship or not. If they need to be corrected in the way that they're thinking about a particular thing, if y'all boyfriend and girlfriend and y'all going in direction, listen, if that's a bad thing, you need to say something. Because
what is not addressed in this time, in this courtship, dating, being together, it will be more of that.
Absolutely.
In the marriage.
Absolutely.
Marriage, people tend to be more comfortable in just their themness, if I could use that.
Absolutely.
After marriage. And so if things are not corrected before, marriage, because the thing that comes back is, well, you knew I was like this before we got married and you still married me. So no, we're going to address that on this side before we get over there.
Absolutely.
I hope that makes sense.
I agree.
Emmy said it's about adjusting priorities. I've learned, which is different or difficult at times. Showing mercy to my spouse and humbling myself, putting the shoe on the other foot.
Amen.
And sometimes I had a hard time, and here I go again. Sometimes I had a hard time putting the shoe on the other foot because in my pride, I was like, I would never do that, or I would never speak to him that way, or I would never. Right. Listen. And so that's when it becomes hard. Well, that's when it would become hard for me to humble myself, when I started thinking, well, he's doing things that I never would do to him, or saying things that I never would say. And then, you just wait. You just continue to be married and you will see how those tables will turn. You're welcome, Jayla. Tyrone said, is it important that your love language be compatible? I think that's very, very important. So go ahead.
No, you go.
I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be compatible, but I have to learn how to speak your language.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, if we're going to coexist, I got to know, you can't be speaking French and I'm speaking Spanish and we're trying to understand one another. It's just not going to work. And so we may not have the same love language, but I have to be mature and responsible enough to properly steward the knowledge I have of his love language, right? His love language, one of his with me, with nobody else, but one of his is touch. And I say that because he's not a really touchy, huggy kind of dude. But for me, that's like his primary love language. And so,
because I love, and I think it shows up because I love my wife. I do. And I love, I don't know, because I think it's weird because I didn't grow up seeing it. And so a part of me is like, when it happens, I love how I feel when it happens. And I'm like, come touch me all the time. And I'm not talking about sexual touch. I'm just talking about hold my hand, lay your head on my shoulder, that kind of thing. It matters, and I think sometimes, like, like even with, compatible love languages, your love languages sometimes, I don't think it's as much about being compatible, like Cassie said, at more than it is both of you understanding one another's love language and how to minister to that.
Yeah, and that's what so you hit it. So when he says minister to that, understand it, honor it, and acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And then act on it, right? I can't say, if his love language was words of affirmation, I can't use the excuse, well, I'm not good at giving words of affirmation. Guess what I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to get some practice in. If I gotta read up on what are words of affirmation, about what is affirming to you, that's the first question to your person.
Yeah.
What if they're a words of affirmation person, what does that look like to you, or what does that sound like to you? Because it could be anything from, babe, you did a great job doing whatever, or that meal was amazing. It just depends, but you need to know what speaks to them.
And you can't assume or expect them to know when, okay, let's just say that's not necessarily how, they're not necessarily wired that way. Okay, then you telling them what matters to you or what helps in that regard will give them the information and the wisdom that they need so that they can make the appropriate adjustment. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, and then sometimes it takes time, paying attention, listening to the hints that they drop. Like, great, I like this, Alandria. She says taking the time to learn it may be beyond what you're used to doing. You have to be willing to learn. You got that right. So she took us right back around full circle to point one, being willing to lay down your life for the person you're in relationship with. And again, that's not just talking about physical death. That is talking about your preferences, the way you do things, how you show up. It's not all about you now. It's not. And sometimes, like I said, when it comes to really walking in relationship, um, where love resides, you're not gonna always have your way. And if you feel like you need to always have your way, that's not real love or relationship.
A little while longer.
You know, if you're not being required to sacrifice something or to give up something, if relationship is one way is one way sacrificial, it's not relationship. It's not God relationship. You got to give up something, and it's gonna count. It's gonna cost you something. Love is gonna cost you something.
Yeah, facts.
And it should cost you something. You know, so yeah, I know tonight we have gone over our time, but I really thank God for the conversation. Um, what's Jayla saying? Okay.
She said, as a wife, how do you handle laying your preference down or submitting if you feel strongly against something? So here's how that worked in me. I didn't do well in the beginning. I'm gonna just tell you right now. No, to ask all the questions. This is what it's for.
What this is for.
That's what this is for you to ask every question that you can think of. And if we don't get to them, inbox us, because that's what it's for.
Yeah.
We want you to be equipped before you get married, so that you can stay married, right? Absolutely. So again, me on the chopping block, I didn't do well with submitting when I felt strongly against something. I kind of rebelled a little bit in the beginning. And so what I learned was, shameless plug for 12 Commandments of a Wife in Progress. It is on Amazon. It is a 12-week devotional. Go get that. It's got some good tips for some of this stuff. But seriously though, I had to pray, right? And ask God to show me how to show up in those times. Because if I just strongly disagreed, but it wasn't something leading us into sin, then I just kind of had to chug it, right? Because I came under him. I said, I do. This is, this is the head of my home. And I said all the things, right? And so I had to really ask God to help me and show me how to submit. And so through prayer and then through mentors, he sent people into my life, and I was like, wow, Lord, when about time, right? But no, he did. He sent people that could kind of help me in that space and speak into my life. But the bottom line is, if it's not leading you into sin or harm or danger, you're gonna have to chug it.
Well, and I think a lot of it really, just in that regard, is understanding that, okay, this is what I do. Like when it comes to a preference type deal, you have to ask yourself, is the preference reasonable? Is this a reasonable preference? Is this something that I have to have? Is this something that would be considered good in the sight of God? You see what I'm saying? Because if it's a preference and it's an unreasonable preference, then you might need to let go of that preference. But if it's a preference that is fair in practice and in conduct, then that's something that you'll just have to pray about. And let me tell you something. God answers prayers from the smallest, what we consider to be the smallest, to the greatest.
Yes.
So if it's something that you're having a challenge with, pray about it. And ask the Lord, okay, Lord, ask Holy Spirit, okay, is this something that I need to make a big deal about? Or is this something that I can just move past?
Yeah,
and make the adjustment. I'm sorry.
No, and some things, like I said, some things it was just because I had been raised a certain way, or I thought a certain, I had certain ways of thinking. So for example, finances. I'm gonna just give you that real quick. I kind of was indirectly taught by multiple, just various women in my life. You need to have a separate bank account. Don't let the right hand know what the left is doing. Don't give your whole check, to him. It's not, you need to have some of your own money. Like those are the kinds of things that I was fighting through. And so when I'm getting ready to marry this man, and he's like, we're gonna have one account. I'm like, what the what? Wait a minute. You know, that challenges everything that I thought, you know, and all of my little security and comforts. And so again, that wasn't a sin issue. That was just something that I felt strongly about because, and here's the other thing, unhealed girl still had, you know, I still had some stuff that was unhealed. And so she said, I'm about to make her throw her phone. Some unhealed areas. I felt like if I do this, what if he leaves me? Then I'm not gonna have any money. Right.
See, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but I'm just saying this is real talk. It's not appropriate thinking when you're entering into a godly covenant. And not that things can't happen, but you shouldn't be going into a marriage thinking about what if this don't work. Then I'm gonna go ahead and say push the date back a little bit, right?
Because that's gonna really cause you a lot of unnecessary argument and fight, and you don't even need that.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, that's why I said, is it reasonable? Is it necessary? Is it pleasing to God? And if it checks those boxes, but you feel like if I say something is going to cause a problem, then that's one that you need to take to God in prayer and let him do the work.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, this is how crazy the devil and the flesh will make you. He's great with money. I was not. And so I needed to put my money together with his so I might have been able to come up, right? No, I'm sorry, I'm exactly silly. But my mind was so messed up and just kind of like, no, I gotta just self-preservation. That's no good in a marriage either.
What did I have to do though? I had to die. I had to. This is the thing that a lot of people won't tell you. You have to give your spouse the ability to grow in grace.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give them the time to grow and get better. And you shut your mouth and you let them grow.
You shut your mouth.
Listen, I had to keep my mouth closed. I had to let her bump her head, and I knew it was going to cost us, but that was God also working on me, saying, okay, I got you. Let her go through this process. We'll be better in the end. And I let him work that thing out. I did, because some things you have to leave to the Lord, let him work it out in them and give you the grace inside to grace them the ability to make their mistakes and still be covered in love. And that's what I had to do. I had to love her through it. Like, okay, you're going to go on and make your mistake. You go on and bump your head a little bit. You'll learn. And I had to trust and believe that she would learn. And I gave her that space. And, you know, there were certain areas where she had to grant me the same grace to grow in grace and humility and love and stuff like that. So it's not just one person going through it. We're both going through our own process of our own version of it. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely.
Yes.
Listen, that Heavy Love, man, the song that we played in concert. What's up, Michael? Hey, I gotta give you my new number, man. I know it feels like I fell off the face of the earth, but I really didn't. I need to give you my new number. But yeah, it's really something that you like. Tough love, man. Like when you love somebody, real talk, when you love somebody and you really love that person,
yeah,
you don't give up on them. Yeah. You let them go through their stuff, you let them grow, and you say, Lord, in this area, show me how to love and grow in this space, and show me how to be better.
Good night, Amy. Love you.
Yeah, Amy. Thank you so much for chiming in and giving those nuggets of wisdom and insight as well. But yeah. So yeah, we need to get it. But you guys, listen. Inboxes, Jayla, send Cassie your digits.
Please inbox me. Yeah. I would love to talk to you some more. And any of you all, literally, you know, it's open. We're open. We are extremely crazy busy schedules. But what we do value is just the opportunity to have those one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Bonsi, love
What's
you. It's
up,
okay.
girl?
Better late than never.
Right.
We love the opportunity for the one-on-ones. And so just let us know, like inbox, just inbox.
Yeah.
If you want to ever just kind of have some, we want to talk, you know, whatever. We're here. We're available.
No doubt. Well, people, it has been real. Happy Monday to you, Vonsi. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Hey, you're one of our favorites as well.
She knows it.
Absolutely. But and then like I said, for those of you, what's that, babe?
The Marriage Village.
Oh yeah.
We are one.
Oh yeah, Doc. Listen, it's come.
Lonza, hold on.
Yeah. So we got a date for Marriage Village. It's going to be in Sellersburg, Indiana, October 25th and 26th. Listen, you want to get in the house. It's going to be crazy. We are really looking forward to it. And all of our peeps, hopefully we'll have a good bunch of our peeps with us. It's going down. I'm trying to tell y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming in.
Yes.
We'll give the information. We'll be giving you this information. We're going to get off of here. But know that we love you. Know that we're praying for you. And if you have a prayer request that we need to address away from here, please send it to themarriagevillage@gmail.com and let us know. We'd love to be able to connect and walk with you in prayer. Okay?
Absolutely.
You got anything else you want to say?
Just we love you guys.
Absolutely.
And we thank you for rocking with us and for engaging tonight. We didn't really even hit all the things, but I love how it happens though. It just flows. And so we'll probably pick some more of this next week. All right.
Peace, people.
Love y'all. Have a good night.